That right there is my teacher look. I gave this teacher look to three of the students at Crier Elementary, which is the elementary that I'm doing my field experience at. The first student that I gave that look to, his name is Jamal. Prior to me giving him this look, he came up to me for maybe about 30 seconds to like a minute. We just talked. We got to know each other a little bit. I made him laugh. We just kind of formed that like connection. And then, he goes and sits down. And a few minutes later, while the teacher's talking and explaining like the assignment that they're about to work on, I just see Jamal like throwing his pencil over and over again into like their pouches where they have like the calculator, scissors, pencils, pens, whatever, like their personal pouches. He was like throwing the pencil, trying to make it in there. And I looked at him, and I didn't give him the same exact look that I gave the other two students that I'm going to talk about. It was more of a laxed look. I still did the thing, but I wasn't so, like, not angry, but I feel like I didn't look so mean. It was more of just like a, hey, like chill out, like, you know. So I gave him that look, and he actually stopped. And he seemed willing to stop, like he was like, I feel like because we formed that connection previously, he seemed like willing to stop. And he was like, okay, like you're right, and then he stopped, and he was well behaved for the rest of the time that the teacher was giving her instruction. The second student I gave, or I guess it was two students at the same time, I gave that look to were these two girls. One was named Isabella, and the next, her name is Scarlett. And they were just talking. Same situation. While the teacher was like trying to explain an assignment that they were gonna do, they were just talking, talking, talking. So I looked at them, and I'm like, stop, you know. I didn't say stop, but I gave them that look, like, cut it out. And both of them kind of like, rolled their eyes, but they stopped and they, started paying attention and whatnot. So that's good. And then the last student that I gave that look to, his name was Nick. He was like throwing his football in the air, like catching it, doing all this stuff with the football. And I look at him and I'm like, same look. And he just kind of keeps the same smile on his face. He stops for a few minutes, not even a few minutes, maybe a minute, and then boom, starts again, and so that happened, and then I didn't give him another look. The teacher actually told him to stop, and then he stopped. But that's obviously verbal communication, not nonverbal. But I guess some of the takeaways that I have is that nonverbal communication, or like the teacher look, doesn't necessarily work on everybody. Or at least from my experience, it works, but to a certain extent. Like with the two girls, or not the two girls, sorry. Like with Nick, it worked for like a minute, and then he continued doing what he was doing, being disruptive and just being off task and stuff. So yeah, I also learned that you might need to adjust the look for some people. Some people might not, react to such a mean or stern look. Maybe like a more laxed look, calm look, how I gave Jamal. It was still like a, hey, cut it out type of thing, but it wasn't so mean and stern, So yeah, it can still be used to manage a classroom very well, especially for those who it just completely works on. If you give them that look or this nonverbal communication, and they just stop doing what they're doing and get back on task and start paying attention, then that's great. Or even if it's for somebody like Nick, if you know that you only need a few more minutes to finish your instruction, maybe that nonverbal communication, giving them the teacher look, can kind of stop that behavior in the meantime while you finish your instruction, just for the right amount of time. Um, so yeah, lastly, the connection to Fred Jones's nonverbal communication, it pretty much ties together because his whole thing is like encouraging, like using body language and eye contact to sort of like redirect the students without necessarily like interrupting your instruction or your lesson. So, which is exactly what the teacher look, and nonverbal communication as a whole. That's exactly what that is. So, yeah, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.